Hi everybody, welcome back to Rooted at Badger Rock's virtual garden series. We're back with another episode here. We're going to be learning about planting bare root strawberries today. We also have Sarah behind the camera today, helping out as well. Thanks again, Sarah.
Oh, sure thing.
But yeah, basically we got some strawberries to plant today. Main thing with strawberries is we'll go over kind of the different kinds, how to plant them, some tips on planting them. And we'll have some examples as well of maybe how not to plant them. But yeah, let's get right into it. So with strawberries, the easiest way to plant strawberries is to get bare root strawberries. I'll just kind of show what they look like right away. Obviously bare root, they're not in like a potting soil or a pot or anything like that. They just come rooted or with the roots all out. We have the crown up top right here. So this is where all the flowers and all the blossoms will come out eventually. With strawberries, we have there's three different kinds that we plant. There's June bearing. So June bearing means that they'll fruit in the month of June, where you'll get your biggest harvest in June, if the only harvest I should say. There's also everbearing. So everbearing has fruit coming in springtime, summertime, and fall time. So as it says, everbearing all throughout the year. Your biggest harvest will be in probably spring and the fall time, and kind of the cooler temperatures most likely. But again, you'll get berries all throughout the season. But comparatively, like the June berries, though, you'll get one big harvest in June. And then the last kind is wild strawberries. So you may have seen these out like in the woods or somewhere. Not like conventional strawberries you find in the stores that are maybe about golf ball size or bigger. Wild strawberries are really teeny tiny, but they're really good. They're super sweet, really juicy. It just takes a lot more of them to fill out like a pint or something like that. But the kind that we have here today that we'll be planting in our garden here is June bearing strawberries. So kind of one of the main things with planting bare root strawberries is that they come with all the roots down here. But a lot of times they'll be kind of drier, or they might not be very moist. So a big tip before you planting strawberries bare root is you want to make sure you get them soaked. So over here we have a bucket of water, which also has some more strawberries in there as well. But yeah, best thing to do is just maybe soak these for about an hour or two before we go and plant them in the garden. Because we just want the roots to be nice and hydrated so they're not drying out, so they have a better chance of sprouting right away or rooting right away. And then I think I mentioned it before, but we have the crown on top right here. So when we bury these in the ground, we want to bury them up to about right below the crown right here. So if we bury them above, then it's just going to be tougher for them to get sunlight, tougher for them to grow. And yeah, there's a couple examples here we'll show you, maybe some ones that could use a little retouching. But yeah, kind of with any other like transplant, we just want to find a spot in our garden. So with these roots, again, you can have them all the way down. Sometimes you may want to prune the roots a little bit just to kind of keep them stronger as they grow out. And yeah, let's look right into how to plant them. So this is our strawberry bed right here. We've been planting with all of our classes here at Badger Rock in our garden class. So this week we got to plant a bunch of strawberries, and yeah, it's been really fun. Students have been really enjoying it. There goes my hat.
It's windy out here.
It's a little bit windy. But so yeah, we have a bunch of strawberries out here. We have a few planted so far, as you can see right here. These are getting pretty good. They could maybe be covered up a little bit. You can kind of see some of the roots exposed down here. So these ones we want to just cover up a little bit more. And you want the soil to be very loosened up so that the roots can be easily exposed and can easily grow out. So loosening the soil is a really good tip as well when growing strawberries. And yeah, again, maybe like this one over here, you can kind of see it wasn't covered up all the way. So the crown's all the way up and there's some roots exposed. So this is another one we want to cover up a little bit more. Again, you can also do mounding systems with this to kind of keep the soil loose and or not compact as well. But for planting strawberries, pretty straightforward. We're just gonna dig a hole. And for strawberries, we want about, say, like 8 to 12 inches apart or so, give or take. About a foot, maybe 18 inches. But yeah, we want it to be a hole about as long as the roots are. So we want at least maybe about 5-6 inches of a hole. Loosen it up. And then since we have all of our roots, we want to spread them apart, kind of fan them out as best we can. Put them in the soil. Again, we want to cover up just below the crown of the strawberry plant. Right there. And now, we did have some sticks. I'll just use a little wood chip for right now. Maybe that'll help distinguish where we have our plant. Just so that we don't accidentally step on them or compress the soil or anything like that. And yeah, for our June bearing strawberries, since it's coming up pretty soon, June's only about a month and a half away, these most likely won't produce strawberries right away since we just planted them. So this will probably be a next year's crop. And strawberries are perennial, so they will be coming back next year and the following years as long as you keep upkeep with them. Again, just keep weeds out of there. Once they start growing bigger, they'll start to flower. Maybe right away you might want to pick some of the flowers off so that it focuses on just growing the plant bigger, so that we can get bigger, more strawberries, more runners is what they're called. So those will produce just more strawberry plants, and they just keep spreading out further and further. And the more runners you have, the more strawberries you'll end up having. So that's why we kind of want to focus on just getting the plant bigger right away instead of actually trying to get strawberries out of it as soon as we can.
We'll do another workshop later in the season on how to recognize runners and how to snip them off to start your own strawberries from a plant like that too.
Yeah. So I'll just plant a few more while we have them out here. Again, just making sure they're nice and soaked, nice and wet, just so that they have a better chance of getting in the ground. We just got a lot of rain here last night too, so our soil is nice and wet already. So we don't really have to water these in at all, but again, if your soil is really dry, you'd want to water these into the ground as well.
Can you explain what that is, watering in?
So watering in is just, once we dig our hole for our plant or our strawberries, is we'll usually put about like a cup of water into the hole just to keep the soil nice and wet, and it's just so it doesn't dry out right away if you're not getting water on it as soon as possible. Otherwise, just planting it and then watering it as well is just always good. Get it out of the way. Trying to get it right up to the crown. The crown's exposed. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I guess we'll just put one more in just for good measure while we're out here.
Some people like to add sand when they plant strawberries too, just to have a little better drainage, so to prevent the roots from rotting.
Yep.
Definitely
Don't want root rot.
Definitely have plant them in a bed that's got a lot of compost. They need a lot of nutrients to get going too.
That too. Yep. So plant one more over here and loosen up the soil a bit.
And Forrest, what's the benefit cost-wise of bare roots?
So, comparatively of like buying strawberries in the store, that you can be, I don't know, between $5 and it's $10 if you buy organic strawberries at a plant. But bare root strawberries, I don't know, maybe less than $1 per strawberry plant. Yeah. So relatively, this is a very cheap way, and each plant could produce, a couple pounds of strawberries per season, more than likely. So yeah, it's very cost effective. Again, Sarah was mentioning about doing a runner workshop later on, and that's probably the cheapest way of getting a new strawberry is just clipping off runners that come off the main plant, because then those runners will just turn into a new strawberry plant. So if you just keep producing runners and keep clipping them off, you can just keep making more strawberries after that.
Forrest, could you take us on a little walk to the spot where we have some strawberries already growing, so people could see what they're gonna look like when they start to grow, so you can know what not to weed out. Don't weed out your strawberries that you just planted.
Mm-hmm. So we're gonna go over to our food forest area. It's not just my name. Let's see. So in here we have a lot of wild strawberries. They're wild strawberries, right?
Yep.
Correct. But again, they all look the same. So Right here we have our 3 leaves right here. This is pretty indicative sign. So these are all wild strawberries right here growing. Oh, some mint over here. Yep, these will all be turning into strawberry flowers eventually. You can see where the runners have embedded into the ground right here. So these will just keep spreading out further and further, and they'll just keep producing more and more strawberry blossoms eventually.
Yeah, so plant your strawberries in a spot where they can spread,
Yep.
or you're going to have to do maintenance to keep them contained because they will spread.
And for planting time, again, these are kind of an early season planting, so mid-April or even I've heard like late March you can get them in, especially if you're trying to get, if you're planting everbearing berries, then if you plant them in early, you might even get a summer crop that year, but most likely you probably wait until fall if you want to get a crop for everbearing. For June bearing though, again, if we plant them in the spring, it probably won't be until next year that you actually get a good harvest of berries. So just be a little patient and they'll eventually pay off for the relatively cheap cost of planting bare root strawberries.
And I will say, every school year we've had June bearing strawberries. They ripen the day after school gets out.
Yep. That tends to be the timing.
Yep.
But yeah, that's about it for planting strawberries. Again, Sarah said we might have another workshop on runners once the strawberries get going a little further. So maybe look forward to that one in the coming times. But I think for now, that's about it. That's all we have for right now. And yeah, I think I'd just like to say thank you all for watching and enjoying a little strawberry workshop. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Forrest. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in.